Hi, my name is Angela, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the second MPJE exam that I took and kind of my experience and process with that. I am currently a PGY1 resident going through an ambulatory care track type of training, and I'm doing this video mainly because when I was a student and I was thinking about going out of state for my residency, I knew that that would require me to take 2 states MPJEs, or I would want to get licensed in my home state. And I really wondered what the workload was like for that and what the process was like, and I honestly thought it would be very overwhelming. But here to tell you it wasn't that bad, so that's why I'm doing this video. I already made a video about my first MPJE experience for the state I'm currently in, which is not my home state. So I, again, did my first exam, which was my new state's MPJE, and then about 2.5 weeks after that, I did my NAPLEX. And then this exam was about 9 to 10 days after my NAPLEX. So, and in the midst of residency orientation and everything like that, I really didn't study that much. And that's mainly because when I was in school, I tried really hard in that law class, which is a good class. It taught me a lot. So I had really good notes from that class, and the law hadn't changed that much from the few years that I had been a P3 until now when I'm a PGY1 resident. So I really just used my notes, and I also made Quizlets based on the notes I had. My law teacher did do a review, which was very helpful. Some boards of pharmacies do reviews every year, which kind of costs money, but my law teacher did one for free, and it was a really good overview. So I did not take the pre-MPJE, and I don't think I said this in my other videos. I didn't take the pre-NAPLEX or like the pre-MPJE for either of these exams. Those are offered by NEBP. I think they're about $75 for each exam. They're not as many questions as the real exam, but a lot of people say they do give you a really good idea if you will pass. Your score is really reflective of that pre-MPJE, pre-NAPLEX of your actual exam. I have taken a lot of standardized tests, and I guess I didn't feel nervous at all when it came to the format of the exam, so you can't go backwards. There's no backwards navigation, so you can't rethink a question. Once you've answered it, you answer it and go on. And also the kind of questions that come on law exams, which are, true, false, select all that apply, which are more tricky because you have to know each and every point and choose the ones that actually are true and not just process of elimination. So I was comfortable with that format. I was comfortable with standardized testing, so timing yourself, making sure that you can handle the stress of the environment and the stress of all those questions over and over and over again. So that's why I didn't buy the exam. A lot of people did. And again, I had a really good law class, and I think we even took like a mock MPJE in her class, so I was not worried about it. And I also worked retail for 4 years and had a year of hospital experience, so I also had a lot of knowledge from those settings, which I pulled from during the exam. Again, not everyone will have that. Use your own judgment, but that was just my experience. So I also used my Board of Pharmacy's question and answer section, or frequently asked questions section. I think a lot of boards of pharmacies have these, so definitely check it out if you're just wanting a straightforward question to a straightforward answer to very common questions. Super helpful. The DEA pharmacist manual, which I used to study for my current state's MPJE, I made a Quizlet and stuff, so I just reused that for my home state. So those are kind of the study materials I used. I'll put a link to a really useful website that posts a lot of pharmacy study materials. It's called TLDR Pharmacy, and it's really, I would say they have really good reviews, and they do an MPJE, I think, review for almost every state, and they do one for NAPLEX. So those of course cost money, but just something else if you're looking for. I saw some students using that resource. The exam itself, again, similar format, everything to the current state that I'm in, MPJE, only my home state's questions were a lot more straightforward. So you're just gonna get that. I didn't really study with that intent of knowing that they'd be straightforward, but they were. Everyone writes tests differently in each state pretty much. And there were definitely a few sections where I did not study it at all, because maybe I had gaps in my notes, or maybe, there were updates that I didn't see in the frequently asked questions board, or maybe they were just trick questions. But I did my best guess, and again, I pulled from my work experience, honestly, on those. I wasn't able to see my score. I just know that I passed, And I think in one of my other videos, you could temporarily see your score, but that's not an option anymore. So I just got a pass, and I didn't know how I actually scored on any of my exams. So it's just pass fail, and we'll see if that changes or not. So just other information about this process. So I chose to get it out of the way early because, again, I was motivated, I had the time, orientation was a little bit lighter, so I could see myself fitting it in. And I also was just very comfortable, I guess, taking my home state's law exam. So not everyone does that. Some people wait, months out when they have a lighter schedule or when they have other priorities going on in the orientation period, and then they can prioritize it later. And some wait even like a year out until they start PGY2, or when they go actually back to their home state, they'll take it. Although I've been discouraged from doing that. A lot of pharmacists I've met had said it was really hard taking the law exam after all those years, like 2 years of being out of their home state to take the law exam again. So something to think about. It's fresher in your brain the closer you are to graduation from pharmacy school. I got an email notification from my current state's Board of Pharmacy that I was licensed, but my home state, they didn't give me a notification. They sent something through the mail, but my mail's getting sent home, so I didn't see it. But just point being, depending on your state, you might get a notification, or you might need to go actually on their website and check your status. And so I checked my status and saw that I was licensed. And I haven't gotten any sort of nice wall plaque, you see in pharmacies, or pharmacists will have a nice plaque. Just check to see if your home state requires you to do extra documentation that you want that. So my home state wanted an extra form filled out if I wanted the nice plaque and stuff, but my current state didn't need that. They just assumed that I wanted it. So that's kind of the process. Again, if you're thinking about doing a residency outside of your home state and you're kind of daunted by the fact that you'll have to take 2 state MPJE exams if you do want to return home, it wasn't that big a deal, especially if you study really well as a pharmacy student and have really good notes from that area. And you can ask your other students from your pharmacy school for their notes as well, or their Quizlets, and maybe even just Google Quizlet and then your home state and MPJE. You'll just be surprised about how many people have just made Quizlets that you don't even know. And I use some of those as well. So hopefully this was helpful. If it was, please like the video and share it with someone who you think could benefit from it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with my weekly videos. And if you have any ideas of things that you want me to talk about, please put them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week.